Happy day, Christ Greenfield. Good morning. It's a great day to be alive. My name is Ryan Barlow, and I'm here with Rachel Brado, our Director of Nextgen Development. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. As we get started this morning, we have a couple of quick announcements. At our church, at our Gilbert campus this week, we're hosting our mega church event, which will be pastors and their wives, as well as some other LCMS folks there to gather and fellowship and learn and just be together and network, I guess. So excited to have that on our campus. We're also looking for in our pastor search committee, we're looking for another pastor to support our mission in Gilbert, East Mesa, as well as online. So if you know somebody who is a pastor in the LCMS who you think would be a good fit, please email their name to info@cglchurch.org. And I think the deadline for that is February 1st. So looking forward to that. I think that's all the announcements I have for today.
Sure, yeah. Pastor Tim, I think we're also hosting an event earlier this week called the Accelerator.
There you go.
And he is with some other pastors this week, so that's where he's at this morning.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So you get Ryan and Rachel. All right. Cool. So we had some ideas we were throwing around, and Rachel came up with a great idea where we're going to kind of take this CG live this morning. So
yeah.
I'll turn it over to you.
Well, okay, and then I'm actually going to turn it back over to you.
Good.
Right.
I like this.
Yeah. So we are both fairly new in our positions at Christ Greenfield.
100%.
And you've been at East Mesa now for about 8 weeks, maybe?
Something
2
like
months?
that.
Yeah. Okay,
Mid-November.
So just talk to us about East Mesa and how it's going. Like, what are some things you just have loved, and maybe what some challenges that you've come up against?
Cool. Yeah. So our East Mesa campus was launched in March 2020. We had COVID, so we shut down. We reopened, and Pastor Jake kind of led that launch with a group of, I think, about 60 people who were sent from our Gilbert campus. And since then, Jake has taken a call to Concordia, Irvine, Texas, a university there. So I've been put into the supporting role while we search for another pastor of kind of an interim student pastor position to lead that campus with our leadership team there. So it's been going well. And some of the joys of that is just the people we're working with, Spirit-led, what Jesus is doing in that community. Our campus is in the middle of a subdivision called Cadence, and there's a great opportunity there with lots of new homes being built, lots of people that need to hear that Jesus loves them, and also folks that just maybe they've walked away from the faith and need to hear an invitation to come back. So loving that. We've been doing a lot of service activities with the community, which is cool because it's not just your typical sit and get church scenario. You're actually out serving with the community face to face, getting to know who the leaders are in the community, building relationships, building that trust, and then just becoming kind of a centerpiece in the community in terms of service and support and that sort of thing. So that has been tremendously wonderful experience to walk through with others.
And I've heard such great things. You're doing such a great job. I appreciate
the team is.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody is. And that's what's so great about that campus is it's just such a team effort, and everyone just rallies around each other.
It's super people-oriented. Like, I've never experienced anything like it. The people are the priority, not the projects. And, of course, the proclamation of the gospel, administering sacrament, and the forgiveness of sin. So it's just a wonderful thing. God is so good. Thank you, Lord, for your church on this earth. It is so good. Some of the challenges, I guess, just kind of trying to find my groove, and coming out of, 8 years of working in real estate and kind of started working for myself. And so now learning, like, what a schedule looks like for a pastor type person, working with teams instead of as an individual. And I had worked in the church team before about 1 day a week. So it was good that I had that experience first and then went into this full time because, learning how these team dynamics work and that sort of thing. So just kind of finding the groove and feeling it become more natural is kind of the thing that's the challenge right now.
Yeah.
So, and then also if you're in ministry, well, guess what? So is your family. So you need to be very good at communicating to your wife or your husband and your family. What am I doing this week? What's on my schedule? How come I'm not home at 7 o'clock? That kind of thing. Because it's not a regular 9 to 5 type of deal. So communication is key. So picking up some of these little things as I go along and being thankful for the grace of others as I do.
Yes.
So.
As a wife, I appreciate it when my husband lets me know where he is.
Yeah, that's
when he's not home, when he should be home. Yeah, and vice versa too. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been good. It's been great. I love this. And Rachel, like you said, we're both new in this.
Yeah.
And how long have you been the director of Nextgen for Christ Greenfield?
So since June, probably beginning of June.
Yeah.
Right around when VBS started. So yeah, so I've had about 6 months under my belt.
Awesome.
And I would say a lot of it is to the same of just transitioning from a different mentality. When you are a teacher, you're kind of in the silo of your classroom because that's what I was before.
Yeah.
Was teaching, but so yeah, it's a different hours, different schedule. But what I love about it is my kids are on campus too, and so I get to see them.
I love that.
My daughter's gonna be, like, she's in confirmation, she's gonna be in youth group soon, so it's still like we get to do things together.
Awesome.
And so that's what I really love that.
That's fantastic. And I want to say I love seeing you in the office at the Gilbert campus, working with Maddie.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see her have, it's not that we don't have friends or whatever, but like a best friend, type of peer, that mentoring relationship you guys have with each other is just beautiful to watch because their office is right next door to mine. And it's never quiet in there. It's always laughter and you can tell the wheels are turning. It's a factory of fun. So
we get a lot of work done, but we have fun doing it.
Yeah.
So much to the point where I lost a bet. This was before Christmas. I lost a bet that I had to wear an elf costume to chapel.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So the kids were so excited. They were like, "Woo! It's Buddy the Elf!" And little do they know, it's because I lost a bet. But it was still, yeah.
Yeah. But that's just the fun that you bring with Maddie, because we do have a lot to do, and sometimes it can be stressful. So it's good to keep it light and live in that journey with joy, right? So,
yes.
Awesome. And so you had recently headed out of town for a DCE conference, a director of, what is DCE?
Yeah, so Director of Christian Education is what it stands for. So it was the NADCE conference, and talking about Maddie and getting to work with her, I got to spend a lot of time with her because the two of us went together.
Awesome.
And so it was really, it happens every 3 years. And so she knew so many people at the conference because she went to school to be a DCE, and so a lot of people from Concordia Irvine were there. But I wasn't in that program at school, even though my alma mater was there and represented. And so I saw some people that I knew, but a lot of it was networking, and just getting to know like other DCEs, what are other churches doing, what does the role look like? Because at every church, it's different.
Yeah.
And you had churches there who had like 3 DCEs on staff, and you had other people there who the DCE was the only person on staff. They were looking for a pastor, that kind of, So you just had the wide range of, but I was able to see 2 of who I consider mentors there.
Cool.
Somebody from college, my advisor, and then also someone that I'd worked with in Wisconsin. So that was just really neat to connect and just catch up and get some encouragement from them,
That's
and
fantastic.
how important the mentor role is. But so at the conference, there were 2 speakers there, and the one guy actually, he helped write this book, and mine's a little worn, but so Tim Elmore and Andrew McPeak wrote this book, Gen Z Unfiltered.
Wow.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about Gen Z, but Andrew McPeak was the one that was there.
Nice.
So we got to just talk about Gen Z and the things that kind of how COVID has affected them, but also how they've been raised and how it differs from all the different generations, and how they just are completely different. Are you a millennial?
Technically.
Yeah.
I
like
don't like
mid-range.
being labeled.
I know, right? That's the thing too. Yes, that's true. I'm a Gen X, but could be millennial. Like I'm right there in like those few years. But just how sometimes there's animosity actually between like the 2 generations that hit each other.
That's weird. Never seen that before.
So it's like Gen X and millennial maybe would butt heads, but then millennial and Gen Z. So I don't know. It's just fascinating.
It is.
All the sociology aspect. So that was great. And then also the guy that wrote, his name is Todd Bolsinger, I think is how you say it. But he wrote Canoeing Up the Mountains.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you?
I think it's called Canoeing the Mountains.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
No, that's okay.
Mountains.
And I know our church was real heavy into that book about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So very familiar with the title.
Well, and what was just kind of cool, it's like he talks about Lewis and Clark and how, their goal was to try to find the passageway,
Uncharted
yes,
territory.
They took the Missouri all the way up, and they thought they would find the passageway to the Columbia out to the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
But when they got to the head of the Missouri River, they look up and over the mountain, and it's just the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, wow,
So
yeah.
they brought along experts in canoeing, like on their trip, right? But then what do you do when...
Now you need mountaineers.
Yes. What do you do when you are no longer needed? And can you pivot? Can you shift? Can you learn something new?
Wow.
And I just think that's really relevant to today. Like with COVID, it made everybody pivot, and
Yep.
it still is making everybody pivot. And what you used to be like good at maybe is not what's needed anymore. And can you shift and can you learn things?
Yeah.
And one of the things he said was like people aren't resistant to change; they're resistant to loss.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's the loss that comes with the change is what people are resistant to, and why a lot of times people don't want the change.
Right.
Because it's new, it's unfamiliar. It's not what they're used to.
Yeah, and it's a trust scenario.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to do this, I got to trust that God will be faithful and be with me.
Yep.
And we'll get through this. I don't know what the outcome will be, or maybe I have some idea of what it'll be, but just being open to what God makes it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So another thing that was kind of cool is we were able to go on a group publishing tour. So group publishing is who we use for all our VBSs.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but actually, I wasn't able to go because my alma mater was having like a reception, but Maddie was able to go. And okay, so this guy here.
Yeah.
So she said it was funny. Like the people who started group were there. And she had this rhino, because this is one of the Bible buddies from a couple years ago from VBS.
Okay.
And she was just like kind of like talking and just like kind of like petting the animal. And then she goes, you know what? I think, do we have rhinos for everybody? And they lifted the sheet off the table and there were like hundreds of rhinos. And it was like Oprah Winfrey. And it was like, you get a rhino and you get a rhino and you get, so everyone's like, we all get rhinos.
Yeah, I go to the wrong meetings.
Yeah, right. You don't have those on your meetings. Yeah. So Maddie and I got to carry these back with us on the plane. So that was funny. And everyone's like, where'd you get your rhino? So that was just kind of.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that was definitely just like a fun thing to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you were there for 3 days.
Okay, yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
And so I'm guessing this is like a typical conference experience. You have like a keynote speaker and some breakouts.
Some breakout sessions, yeah. And there were some good like one of them was about gender identity.
Wow.
And how as a church we respond to that.
Some deep topics.
And really relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just great to meet the other DCEs. I felt older. There's lots of young DCEs. But just to see like their excitement for the ministry, and also though to see the ones who have been doing this for a long time, and just be like, wow, like they are like just the solid foundation of their churches, and have really, no matter their age, have found ways to connect with kids and stay relevant. And that to me is so impressive, right? Because the kids you work with stay the same age.
Right,
but
right.
you age and you get older. So like you have to really sometimes work harder to remain relevant.
Yeah, and they stay the same age, but they are experiencing the world differently than the kids you were serving 5 years ago.
Yep.
So very interesting.
Yeah. Some of the things that we talked about too is just the stress and how Gen Z is overwhelmed and how we can help them with that. Combating that and really just naming like your stress and anxiety and just like calling it out and just saying like, this is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm stressed about, and having a safe place to talk about it. And and just to know the difference between anxiety, stress, being overwhelmed, because it's not the same thing.
Right.
And
I think even adults struggle with that differentiation.
Yeah, totally.
So
the main takeaway that what I thought was the coolest was a lot of it was about identity, right?
Sure.
And like who you are.
Yeah.
And it talked about when Jesus was baptized. Okay, he was baptized before his ministry even started. Like that kind of like launched his ministry. And when the dove came down and the voice spoke, God saying, "This is my son, whom I love, with whom I'm well pleased."
Yep.
It was before Jesus did anything.
Right.
That God said that.
Right.
So it's like we need to make sure our identity is rooted in God. Like we don't have to do anything for that. Like Jesus hadn't done anything miraculous yet, like as a human, to get God's love and for God to be pleased with him. So the same way with us, we don't have to do anything. It's just who we are in him, and he loves us so much. So I just thought I had never thought about the baptism of Jesus that way before.
Yeah, and that's the same for your baptism.
Yes.
That is a promise from God to you. And that promise can never be taken away. There's nothing you can do to separate yourself from the love of God in Christ Jesus. And so when you are stressed out, living in anxiety and fear and uncertainty, rest in that promise that no matter what happens in this life, there's a reason it is happening. God is teaching you, He's guiding you, but you have a greater home in heaven, and look forward to that as well. So that's super powerful, the idea of being rooted in your identity in Christ. Not my identity in a DCE,
right,
or a student pastor,
or a dad, or a mom,
or a banker, whatever it is, right? Because those things can change, they can come and go, and we want to have an identity that's in something that will never change, and that is the promise from God through your baptism in Jesus Christ.
Totally.
So I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So just like, and how do we carry that over and just help just remind the kids of that daily?
Yes.
Like, this is who you are.
And your own kids.
You know, and just, you're a basketball player, yes. Or, you know, you're a male, you're a female, yes. But like, that's just part of who you are.
Right.
That's not like your whole, you know, there's
The
all
whole
these little
enchilada.
pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay, so, Ryan, as we kind of wrap up here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a quiz. So they gave this quiz, and let me just tell you that Maddie actually dominated the quiz.
Okay.
Like, she knew everything, but she's also like 18 years younger than me. So
Well, so let me just puff myself up a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty intuitive, so I feel like I'm going to do really well at this.
okay,
But we'll see.
Do you have TikTok?
No.
Okay. Then you
I
might
already lose. I already lose.
Yeah, you already lose. I don't have TikTok either, but so this is a TikTok challenge, and it's just common words and terms that people are using on TikTok. Do you know what they mean?
Well, I'm going to take some good guesses.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8.
Yeah, let's do it.
I knew 1.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is cheugy.
Oh, my Lanta.
CHEUGY.
You know, I swear I saw this somewhere. It has to do with something that, boy, this is fun. It has to do with something that's like beautiful or cool or something like that, right?
Okay, so you know how I talked about like the animosity between generations that are next to each other?
Yeah.
It's how Gen Z refers to millennials who are trying too hard to look trendy.
Oh, wow. So, see, I'm way off. And that's so specific, too. It's not just like a general thing.
And I always think of the word in like chuggy, choo-choo, something with a train, you know.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So we have these terms that describe things.
Yeah.
Have you thought about how would I describe that same thing for the generation that was before me?
Sure.
What would you call that?
I feel like let's say it's my mom, who I thought was trying too hard to be like, embarrassed. Maybe, I don't know.
Chuggy equals embarrassed.
Yeah.
All right.
Or just like, oh my goodness, you know, I don't know.
That's awesome.
Okay,
All right, hit
so
me
the
again.
next one is no cap.
No cap.
No cap.
So how about this? I'm defining by association.
Okay.
So when you say no cap, I hear in my wife's voice in my head, no chill. Like, you have no chill. You have no cap. I don't know. What does it mean?
Yeah, it means just like, I'm not lying. I'm like, I got coffee this morning, no cap. Like, I'm not exaggerating, I'm not lying. Like, this is like what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next one is bop. I feel like the word association maybe would work with this one.
So Milton Bradley in the 1990s had a game called Bop It. Does it have to do with something with that?
That is hilarious because I recently asked someone if they do this one, and that's exactly what they said.
How funny.
Okay, but what does that have with it? It has like a
Twist it, turn it, bop it.
kind of like
buttons.
a beat, a song.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what
yeah.
it is. It's just like a cool like song.
Bop?
Yeah.
So, boy, friends, this
song that you really like.
sure is bop to me.
All right, maybe we should just stick with our generation.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't sound good when I say these. And
Well, I'm going to start saying this stuff in my own special way. Sorry. Go
okay,
ahead.
so the next one is dead. D-E-D.
D-E-D.
Ellie, do you know what these are? Yeah, she knows.
All right,
well,
I'm not
she's
cheating.
in that,
Don't,
yeah.
no cheating.
Okay.
D-E-D.
Let me try to use it like.
This is where it gets good when we try to do it.
Let me use it in a sentence. Oh man, I was so dead after that joke.
It killed me?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so they just took out the A. So they don't like letters as much as millennials do.
Okay, there you go. Well, they're used to texting, and they want to shorten it.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, we text, yeah.
I'm
So.
slayed by that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you know, instead of doing like LOL, fun, like crying emoji face, you have to do the skull and crossbones. Like, that killed me. So if you get that text, that means like that's hilarious.
Somebody needs to write
It doesn't
a book.
mean they want to kill you. It means like.
My son is 4.5, and by the time he's 13, we won't even speak the same language.
Right.
I'm just
It's
worried
true.
about this. Go clean your room, please.
Yeah.
What is it gonna?
Maybe you just need to work on some like hand signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
There you go.
Okay, we'll do a few more. How about living rent free?
Oh, this is a millennial one. Like living in your mom's basement.
Right. You think that's what that is, but it's not. It means if something can live rent free in your brain, like you live rent free in your brain, it just occupies a lot of space in there, and you think about it a lot.
Okay.
Like, do you have a favorite team?
Yeah. No, I don't. But
Okay.
but I know what you mean.
So like yeah, like
Like your sermon or something.
yeah,
You're really.
it's living like it's just
working on,
occupying
thinking
a
about.
lot of space. Yeah,
Yeah.
space in there. So it's like kind of like living in your mom's basement for free, but it's living in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that goes along with the anxiety piece, right?
Right.
All that. Interesting.
Okay, so bet is another one, like just BET.
Bet. Yeah. See, I can't. I really struggle because I already have like the
What we know is that, yeah,
what that
I
is,
know.
right? So
Isn't it funny
can
how?
you use it in a sentence and I can guess?
Sure.
Is it possible? To do?
Actually, yes. Bet.
You bet.
I feel like I just did. You can just replace it for the word okay or sure. That's bet.
Bet. All right, it's in there.
I think you should try to throw
Bet.
it in your sermon.
Yeah, bet.
next time.
And you know, we always talk about like making sure that people aren't getting lost in what you're saying and doing up there. Bet.
Yeah, bet. Just throw it out there.
And
Yeah.
also with you.
Okay, the last one is drip. Like your outfit is drip.
Your outfit wasn't properly dried.
It is dripping wet.
Yeah.
It just means cool or just like trendy. Nice.
Awesome.
Okay, so I think what we've proven is that we just need to stick with our generation.
It's that, but it's also, as you're saying these things, I'm like, man, because I have like a mentoring group of sixth graders, and
Yeah.
how do I better connect with them? And
Yeah.
it's not, and also like you say, you don't want to like be disingenuous. Is that a
Right.
word? Where you're trying to pretend to be something you're not, but also understanding where they're coming from and
Yeah.
how they communicate. You know?
I think we don't have to use the vocabulary because it probably doesn't sound
Right.
natural, but
Right.
it's good to know what it is.
Right.
And that way you'll know what they're talking about. Like,
And you might be able to pull off a couple of jokes here and there, where they're
Right.
like, oh, he knows about that.
Yeah. And then you can impress them.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm kidding.
No, it is good to just stay current, obviously, with what
Absolutely.
kids are like doing and like just talking about it.
Yeah, 100%. So I think, do we have any more time left? Or
Yeah, I think.
is that the whole kit and caboodle, Ellie? Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, viewers. I hope you enjoyed your time on Christ Greenfield CG Live with
Yeah.
Rachel and Ryan. I know that was a lot of fun for me, and it was a pleasure to sit down and do this with you as well. So
I think people could maybe comment if they know any other term or if they would know the definitions
yeah,
of some of these.
put them in there because
Yeah.
I am going to compile a list of these things. I'm sure
I
there's
have a
probably
running list actually on my phone, and usually Maddie tells me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to meet with Maddie more often.
You do,
So,
yeah.
well, peace and joy, friends. The Spirit of the living Jesus be with you in this week. Go out and enjoy and love God and love your neighbor.